So I'm going to present to you right from Canva, as unprofessional as this might be, but the font shows up a lot better here. So letting your light shine. Last week we talked about defining yourself and really getting to know who you are as a coach. This week we're talking about expressing yourself, express yourself. So we want what you get to express as a coach is pretty neat. You get to share your wellness philosophy. And what I mean by that is there are some people who really feel like they need discipline to live well, and they need order and structure and kind of that go hard or go home mentality to really hit home on their goals. And that's awesome. A lot of people will really tune into that. I personally am not one of those people. I get really sick when I get a go hard or go home mentality. My wellness philosophy is all about self-awareness, about balance, and about self-compassion. So that whatever your wellness philosophy is, there are no wrong or right philosophies, but you get to kind of tune into what yours is and you get to express that fully. Value, value, value. So we want to think about giving before ever asking somebody to join one of our longer challenge groups, which takes a time commitment, a financial commitment, and kind of like a mental emotional shift in some ways. So you want to add value. That for you, this could be sharing recipes, sharing workout tips, or it could be, if you like to try a lot of beauty products, perhaps sharing that. I have a video that I'm going to share about this great vacuum sealer package that allows us to, I don't know if you've seen these before, but it allows bedding to really shrink down. So after our guests were here, we were able to shrink that bedding down in this vacuum space bag and put it under our bed. And we do the same when we travel. So that is a value. That is something just where you're sharing things that work for you and things that help to enhance your life. Just sharing that out loud. Other things of value could be funny things that happen in your family. People really like transitions. People really like humor and gratitude. So, sharing whatever is of value to you. So think about what you like to look for and what you like to look up on Pinterest, or what stops you from scrolling when you're looking through Facebook or Instagram. You also get to express your journey. I think it's key to always be a work in progress. Sometimes we think that as coaches, we need to be perfect, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. Perfection is boring, and perfection is just not relatable. So seeing yourself as a work in progress, as somebody who is flawed, who is humbled by her flaws, but who is always working towards making your life the most optimal it can be, who's working through those struggles. It's really, it's quite remarkable how relatable you become when you share both victory and struggle. So sharing your journey, whatever fitness program you're doing. And that's why it's so important to be engaging in a program, to be doing your workouts, to choose one program for 21 or 30 or 60 days and stick to it and share that journey as you move along. You get to express tools to empower people to achieve their goals. So we'll talk about this in a moment, but I don't ever really blast like Shakeology or 21-Day Fix or PiYo. I don't blast the names out there unless I'm asked. But when I'm sharing my workouts, when I'm sharing benefits of the superfoods that I drink, i.e. Shakeology, these are tools that do help to empower people to achieve their goals. So achieve their fitness goals, their health goals, perhaps lowering cholesterol. I have a good friend who was able to lower or balance her blood sugar levels enough where her diabetes was under control for the first time in her life. I mean, these tools are amazing, but this is what we get to express. I would just suggest expressing our tools, our Beachbody tools, in very creative ways, in creative kind of subtle ways. You're also able to express how you're able to do all of the above with your unique gifts. So I was talking to somebody who is thinking about coaching this morning, and I just straight up said, I feel like I'm a rebel, or I feel like I kind of am like a sore thumb who doesn't belong in the coaching world. Not in a bad way, but just that I I'm not a part of the go hard or go home mentality. I won't talk to people about watching their calories. I'm going to talk about awareness. I was so skeptical of almost everything Beachbody until I learned more, but I jumped in anyway. And I just feel like there aren't many people who are also, I guess, of the same grain as me, but those who are can really relate. So just sharing your own unique gifts. If you're a stubborn person, sharing that and share why that does benefit the world. And just don't be afraid to be yourself and to authentically show up completely and wholly as you are. So last week, you might recognize a slide. I changed the picture, but the slide is from last week. Why are you here? So tuning into, are you here for the freedom? Are you here for the adventure? Are you here for entrepreneurial self-growth and financial security? Are you here because this is a calling? Notice that none of these things say that you're here to, sell Max 30. You're here to promote PIO, right? That's something that we do get to do when the tools are right for other people, but remember why you're here and let that be what you share. So, when you're sharing gratitude, when you're sharing the blessings of this job, when you're sharing the blessings of your journey, the struggles of your journey, keep in mind what is not up there. That Shakeology is not, on this list, right? It's not why we begin. It's a huge benefit cherry on top of why we begin. Same with 21-day fix is not why we're here. It's part of what we get to offer, but not why we're here. So let the why be what you share. Social media 101. So you might know some of this stuff. I knew none of this stuff before I started coaching. I had no idea what a game and what a business Facebook is. So let's start by talking about something called Facebook affinity. So this is kind of like Facebook popularity, but it's done in a very data-driven, specific way. So the more that you post and the more that people like and comment on your posts, the more that those people will see your posts. So everybody, like let's say you have 500 friends. You won't see all of your 500 friends' posts equally. If you tend to let's say you tend to like my posts that have pictures, then you will see more of my posts with pictures. If you like more of Melinda's posts when she just has text and no pictures, that's exactly what you'll see. So Facebook wants to feed its I guess, members, the posts that they are most interested in from the people that they want to see most. So we need to keep that in mind, and that's why we emphasize adding value in a variety of ways and speaking to a variety of topics. So a good way to increase your Facebook affinity and increase your Facebook engagement overall, so you're able to reach a wider audience with your philosophy on wellness, is to ask easy to answer questions. So asking, what are your life dreams? People would have to sit down and think about that. And unfortunately, our culture today is so quick moving. So what I have found to be posts that get a lot of great feedback are, do you like A or B? Or help me choose 1, 2, or 3. I did this when I was getting married. I showed 2 pairs of shoes and I said, do you like A or B? I did this before. So I use this to actually build excitement for coaching events as well. So most recently I shared a photo that I'll screen share with you. But for our team retreat, I asked everybody to have a black dress so we could, dress up a little bit, get out of our leggings. And so I asked people 1, 2, or 3. And I got a ridiculous amount of comments. Like, it's stupid how many comments I got. But what's cool about this is you're involving people in your life. People are commenting, and then I work to either reply to these comments, or I personally messaged these people and was able to start a conversation that way. So we're able to we'll talk next week about how to build relationships. And this is a great way because they're all responding to my question of help. Which one would you choose? And then I don't always do this, but I couldn't decide when I was actually in the store, so I did buy all 3. And people were able to see that I wore number 1 for our team retreat, and I wore number 2 for a recent wedding. So another way to do this is to ask people, for advice. Like, I recently got into podcasts. What is your favorite podcast? Or I'm trying to think of other examples. How do you cook Brussels sprouts? I want to learn to like them, but I have no idea how to cook them. So asking people for advice, or asking the 1, 2, or 3. Another way to engage people is to reply to comments as much as you can. I know that we're all busy, but this is a great way, again, to build relationships. So when somebody replies, you ask a question, they reply, or they say, oh, what a beautiful post, where was this? That you reply in their comments and use their names. I mean, you can tag them if you want, but the sweetest sound for a person to hear is their own name. So really getting personal with them. Usually also, if a reply takes more than 3 sentences, it's a great thing to bring into a personal message. And that's another thing, when you're communicating with somebody in personal messages or in the group forum, the private group forum, people will see other people's posts more. So if I'm communicating with you in personal messages, my posts will show up in your newsfeed more often as well, because Facebook sees that we have a relationship. What I found that people really, really, really like, especially on Facebook, are transitions. So life transitions, when somebody has a baby, gets married, graduates, moves into a new home. People really enjoy transitions. Struggles with perspective. And what I mean by that is not just being a Debbie Downer, because the world has enough of those. We have the unique opportunity to be positive, bright lights of hope. But the only way that we can be hopeful or shine light for other people is if they know that we are also going through our own struggles. So sharing your struggles and sharing perhaps just a glimmer of perspective that you gained from it, or a glimmer of positivity. And then gratitude. Gratitude is a really neat thing to practice if you don't already, just starting your day with 2 to 3 minutes of thinking or writing down what you are grateful for makes all the difference in the world. And sharing an element of that on Facebook, or if you're taking a walk and you notice the beautiful colors in the trees, sharing how grateful you are to have eyes to see that. I mean, something so basic, people really take to that. And I think it's an amazing platform that we have, this crazy social media platform. It's an amazing chance to spread positivity and gratitude and just highlight the blessings of this life in an otherwise negative atmosphere. You're also able to engage with your dream team. So you're able to create a list within your friends group. So if I go to my friends list, I'm able to actually create a list of people where I can look at their newsfeed specifically. So if you go to, so this is the home page, and you scroll over to this left-hand side and go to friends, and I'll click on more. So I made a group, for example, of our Clean Fit coaches. And in order to create a list, you would label that list. So maybe I wanted of my detox group to see what's going on in their lives, and then I'd start adding members here. And this way I can click on that group. So I can click on my Clean Fit coaches, and I can see specifically what my Clean Fit coaches are posting. I can love on their posts, I can comment, but that way I'm never mindlessly scrolling through my newsfeed, which, by the way, is just a really great time management skill to pick up. Finally, what not to share. So I feel like we covered negativity. You don't want to share stock images of like Beachbody products, Shakeology. I mean, people are really smart, and they're really turned off to anything that feels spammy, anything that feels like an entertainment. So what we want to do instead is allow our posts, even our challenge group posts, to blend in as much as possible with other posts within the newsfeed. So the more that you're able to show your face, the more you're able to make it about you and your journey and less about the product itself, because really that's just a tool, the better. So you don't want to use Beachbody spam, you don't want to use stock images and negativity. Those are 3 great things to stay away from. And another note that's not written here is whenever I'm posting about a challenge group or a sale, I never ever say the price. I never blast the price out loud because I do feel like that dollar sign can feel a little advertisement-like or spammy. And the program that people choose and relies entirely on their goals. So I like to personalize that and to talk about that with people behind the scenes rather than to blast the price. Posting 1 to 3 times a day is a great way to start. If you never, ever, ever post on Facebook, starting with once a day is great, and specifically between the hours of 7 and 9 a.m. or p.m., mostly p.m. So 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time is typically the greatest traffic point or traffic moments of day for Facebook. So you're more likely to have your post be seen, to have your post be liked and commented on, so they cycle through the newsfeed more. I now aim to post definitely in the morning, usually by like 9 or 10 a.m. my time. And then I post in the evening around 7 to 9 p.m. And I save my really gritty bread and butter posts that I really want people to see and to take time to read for the evening. It just breaks my heart when people post really great posts on like a Saturday afternoon at 3, because nobody's going to see that. You want to make sure that your posts have excellent timing. So finally, and this is something to write down, it's number 3, it's listed as number 3 twice, but is to add 5 people to your network daily. So I think one of my pet peeves is hearing coaches say that they're running out of people to speak with, to work with, to empower. And if you start today adding 5 people to your network daily, you will never run out of people to talk to. If you do that just 5 days a week, that's 25 new people a week. That's what, 100 new people a month. That's 1,200 new people in the year, 1,200 plus. So adding people to your network can be as easy as going to your friends list, choosing one friend, and seeing friends that you have in common. You can also, I'll show you that quickly with one of our coaches, Mindy. Mindy and I have a number of friends in common, actually, but you can go to your friends list. And I typically wouldn't ever do this with another coach because we don't need to have more mutual friends. But you can go to more and people you may know. So if I see that I have more than maybe 30 mutual friends with somebody, I'll add them as a friend. Another way you can do this is usually right when you pop on Facebook. If you, you'll see it recommend like people you may know, just adding 5 of those people. The key is to write these people down so you can, again, start liking and commenting on their stuff and then building relationships. So not being just a weirdo who friends a bunch of people, you're able to start connecting with these people. So adding 5 people a day and writing their names down. You could even create a list, which we just talked about, a Facebook friends list of people I added in November, let's say. And then that way you're able to connect with those people directly and you're not mindlessly scrolling through Facebook. So that's the 101. I mean, those are really, really the basics. So be positive, be engaging, know your timing, and add to your network every day. And that way you'll never run out of people to talk to. Now, these are like a little bit more advanced, but I feel like you deserve to know these things, all right? So to work smarter and not harder. And before I even get into this SMART acronym, this is a big hint. Keep track of who you add. Keep track of who you add. So whether you're a paper and pen person or you're an Excel sheet kind of person, keep track of who you add. I do both because I like the satisfaction of writing things down, but I also love that I'm able to track on Excel. And if you'd like, I can show you that chart, just request to see it in our New Coach Mentorship group. But what I do is I just write their name down and I put that in the Excel sheet in a column of new friends. And then once they add me as a friend, I can move them over to the next column, which is new messages. So you want to interact with these people behind the scenes. Okay, so the SMART acronym here. S is for sharing. So we already went over what to share: value, transitions, gratitude, struggles with perspective. You want to share who you are Because, and I think you've already heard me say this before, but when people reach out to you about making a change, they're in a very vulnerable state, whether it's to start a business and become a coach or to join a challenge group with you and they're really honest about wanting to lose weight and shed pounds and shed layers and habits. That's a really vulnerable state, and they're so much more likely to be comfortable doing that, to trust you with their deep down goals if they know who you are. So the more that you share yourself, the more that they will be able to open up without struggle, without too much struggle. M is for mirror. So looking at your life, I mentioned this earlier this week, but kind of seeing your life as like a reality show. And again, not narcissistically, but just that it's that same element of being able to share who you are. So, you know, for example, I'm doing a detox this month. It's 28 days long. It has nothing to do with Beachbody. It's not the ultimate reset. It just is something that I'm doing for my own health. And I'm sharing pieces of that. It's not everything that I share on social media, but it's just sharing pieces of that. And that way I'm able to relate to people when we talk behind the scenes about habits that are really hard to break, or our deep love for coffee or champagne. And I'm able to just relate to people more, and they know that that's real. They know that I'm not just bringing it up in a private message because nobody else can see it. They see that I've been talking about that. A, I think, is the most important thing to my heart. So remaining authentic and true to who you are. I'm somebody who has built this business probably at a more slow and steady pace than other leaders who started at the same time as me. And that has been a struggle for me at some points, but I also recognize that my philosophy has a lot more to do with slow and steady. So I'm not offering quick fixes to anyone. I'm not offering, programs or methodologies that would be easy. I mean, that's the truth. So I offer simple, balanced self-compassion, but it takes people a while to warm up to that. But you know what? That's what's so true to me and to my heart, and that's how I remain authentic. So my approach isn't as direct, but it is what feels like I'm able to maintain integrity. So you've got to think about what's authentic to you and what you're able to share. And what I try to do is think about what gives me butterflies in my stomach. Like, I often don't want to press share. When I do transformation photos, those nights are the worst because it's so scary. It's so scary to put yourself out there and to, say, this is where I was, this is where I've been, and you're worried that people will think you're vain. You're worried that people will think, think the wrong thing about you. But if you're feeling a bit nervous, I think that can sometimes be a good thing, because you're really digging deep into your genuine nature that maybe isn't so easy to share. So just be as authentic as possible. Relationships, like I talked about, building them more and more behind the scenes. So still commenting on posts like we mentioned, or replying to comments, but when you notice that somebody is liking a lot of your posts, actually our coach Danielle, I noticed last year around this time that she started engaging with my posts more. She would comment, she was liking some stuff that I put up about like self-compassion and awareness. And finally, I just reached out to her, and it's when I was starting my Max 30 journey, and I was like, I'm terrified. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I know that I think I can do it. I just need a community to do it with. Would you be open to being my Max 30 buddy? She said, yeah. She became a coach. She's one of my soulful, I don't even want, my soulful partners in business. So building those relationships and tuning into who's already, on board with your message is really important. And then timing we talked about. So just really tune into when people are commenting on your posts more, what time of day you seem to have more traffic. And that way, you're tuning into those relationships more, and you're tuning into your audience more. Okay, so expressing yourself through social media is pretty obvious because that's what you see, and all of us coaches doing all of the time. Challenge groups are so much fun. They're the big why of what we're doing as coaches. So as a coach, if you want to be a successful coach, I'll tell you right now, run a challenge group every month. Maybe run 2. No, running one a month is perfect. But There are two things that I found to be the most helpful for me as a brand new coach. They were running free groups, and they were running consistent 21-day challenges and celebrating the people within both challenge groups. So we'll talk a little bit about your why. When it opens up your warm market. So what I mean by that is it's the people who are already close to you, the people who are already your Facebook friends or your Instagram followers. And it allows you to see who's actually interested in making a change in their life, or who's interested in learning more about wellness or learning more about leadership and empowerment. So many people came out of the woodwork that I never, ever, ever would have expected for my first clean eating group. It also, I'll tell you this, in my first clean eating group, 50 some people joined. None of the people in that clean eating group joined my next 21-day group. And I was so disappointed, but the people who did join the 21-day group have been watching. They had been watching the clean eating group. They had been watching me celebrate some people. They had been watching kind of my progression and what was happening. So people are always watching, and that's also something that opens up in your warm market. And I want to add that I'd say 20%, maybe more, of the people in that first clean eating group have either joined a later challenge group or become a coach, which I think is just amazing. Amazingly, I mean, it's phenomenal. Both Anna Scott and Amy Nelson, who are sisters, I still struggle that they have new last names. They were both in my very first clean eating group, and they became coaches. One of them about, 6 months later, and one about 18 months later after that first clean eating group. But I think it's a good testimony to that. People are always watching you, and they're kind of waiting for the right time in their lives to join you with their own journey. Challenge groups also allow you to lead by example. They're a great way to empower yourself to just go for it and to become a leader, to grow into that leadership role, and to be extremely accountable to yourself. So this, again, doesn't mean being perfect, but for me, it means remaining balanced, because that is the message that I preach. It encourages us to practice what we preach. You're also able to grow together as a group. I think that my Max 30 group was the most meaningful group to me because it was an inside-out transformation. The hardest workout I've ever done for the longest period of time I've ever maintained such intensity. And there were 5 of us in that group, and we gelled like no other. It was pretty amazing. Doesn't even cut it. It was phenomenal. You're able to go deeper with people towards their goals because it's a more intimate community, and you're able to grow your skills at empathizing, empowering, and enlightening. And sometimes this ends up happening in reverse, where people empathize with you, they empower you, and they create enlightening aha moments and circumstances for you. So let's talk about creating your first community. The first thing I want to say is don't get bogged down by all of the information. Action conquers fear. I had very, very little guidance when I started my first clean eating group. There were templates, and they were great, but I was vegetarian and they all had meat. So I created my very own template, which you, by the way, do not have to do. We have a number that you can work with if they jive with you, but I just went for it. And that's what I encourage you to do. Action conquers fear. Now, I would highly, highly suggest to use this time as to connect with people, not to create the wheel. So what I mean by that is you don't have to recreate an entire meal plan. Making the meal plan with recipes and the grocery list takes forever. So we have a number of menus in our files tab, and we have a number of challenge templates. So you're free to use any of these challenge templates, the images, the content. Of course, you want to add your own flair, but you're able to use any of this. So I'd like to show you where those are. So if you go to our Team Clean and More Fit page and go to the Files tab, there's a file called CAF Challenges. So in this, you'll want to click on the Dropbox link. And Dropbox is just where I keep all the files in case for some reason someday Facebook crashed. We have them all somewhere. So the challenge templates are right here. Challenge templates. There's a huge range. These are all for like longer groups, I believe. but we also have clean eating challenges. So I'll go here first. So menus by our Clean or Fit. Here's a 5-day detox. And that's just a repeat from some of the other menus. But so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So we have 6 different menus. We have a grilling menu, and then apparently some need to organize checklists that you can check out. But each of these, I'll just pull up. I'll pull up the detox one that we're using. They have guidelines, which you are welcome to adjust. They have the meal plan, the recipes, and then there's a grocery list at the very end. So what I recommend is downloading this and then adjusting the header and the footer so that they say whatever you want it to be up here. So maybe your team names detox or your team names clean eating menu. So make it your own. Close that over there. So as far as our clean eating templates go, I'm going to go back to the files. And anything that you need to find as a new coach can be found in New Coaches Look Here First. And we have how to run a challenge group. So this is actually my next slide. Your resources. This how to run a challenge group file is amazing. So there we go. How to run a challenge group. I have all of the clean eating templates here, which you can check out. So they're just different. I did a Clean Eats Awareness Treats 7-day group, a holiday group. I have a document about how to run a challenge group, specifically a clean eating challenge group, just step by step. And then I have a little bit more with my secrets. So the things that I did before my very first challenge group that really helped to enhance the experience, I think both for myself and for the challengers. So just to refresh again, this is in our Clean or Fit files. Most anything that you need to find will be in this document here, the New Coaches Look Here First file. All right, we're almost done. So your action plan. I think that you've got the social media kind of rules down, and that's something that you just want to play with. Every single day, you want to post at least once a day, 2 times, maybe 3 per day with value. But let's talk about your challenge group. So this is your action plan, and this is your action plan for the weekend. One is to set a date, and I don't mean a month from now. I mean like starting a challenge group right after Thanksgiving, or starting a challenge group, 1 week or 2 weeks from now. And what you can do when you set a date, I would really suggest taking a look at that how to run a challenge group template, or talking to your sponsor coach and kind of setting up a game plan with her. But I like to put up a post about my challenge group about a week before it starts. So if I were to start a challenge group on in 2 Mondays from now, I would put up a post this coming Monday. Before I put up a post, I reach out to my tribe. So for example, I sent an email out to my former roommates, both in Chicago and my college roommates, and just said, listen, I'm starting this new adventure. I'm really nervous about putting up a post for the first time. I mean, I just got really real with them. Would you mind just sending a little like Facebook love to my posts? Either a comment or a like would help me feel a little bit less scared, and it would ensure that more people are able to see this opportunity. Would you mind doing that? And most of them did it. Most of them were like, well, I want to participate. Like, can I participate? So it was really cool. And it was a good way. I think that sometimes when people comment on posts, they need to see that other people are also involved. So it helped to up that engagement. Then you want to plan when you're going to put up your post and what it'll look like. And I'll tell you, putting up an inspirational quote is cool, but I would suggest putting up a picture of your face or putting up, a really engaging scroll stopping, bright light photo that expresses something to do with clean eating, and do not use anything Beachbody for this clean eating group. I really strongly encourage you to just make it about you, because you are the thing that people will be interested in. They can buy a product from anywhere online. I mean, they can go on Amazon or Craigslist to buy Beachbody products. It's not about buying a product, it's about engaging in a process with you. So make sure that your post is similar, is in tune with that. Write down 25 people that you just want to go out and invite. And the cool thing about these invites is that it's free. Like, you're asking people if they would be interested in joining a free group where they get a free menu and meal plan and grocery list. The grocery list is my favorite part. And they're just able to soak up all of these tips and nuggets of wisdom and perhaps learn some new recipes. So write down 25 people that you want to invite. And then I would suggest you just pacing that out. So maybe for the next 5 days, invite 5 people a day. That feels like a good pace. Share on social media 2 or 3 times. So what I did is I shared on a Monday or maybe a Sunday night. I then on maybe Wednesday or Thursday said, last chance to pop into my clean eating group. And it was just like a really simple post like that. And then I think sometime on the weekend, maybe Sunday night, I just said, I couldn't wait, and I made a recipe from my clean eating menu. Here it is. I showed a picture, and I said, if you still want to join, we begin tomorrow. And I got some more interest from that. So usually people have to see something half a dozen times, something like that, to be ready to buy something. And that similarly, it kind of cuts it in half for something that's free, but they have to warm up to it. So get creative, do your own thing, get creative and share openly on social media in a few different ways throughout the week before your challenge group. And then what I suggest to do sooner than later is to open the Facebook group. So there are directions about how to do this in the documents that I highlighted. But just, create your group. You do have to add one person, so you can add me or you can add your sponsor coach and then start exploring. You get to add a cover photo. But just, if I were to put a hashtag at the end of this, it would just be #JustDoIt, because the fear comes from, I think, inexperience and not being sure what to expect. So the sooner that you act, the sooner that you just go for it, the fear will just dissipate, and you will feel so ramped up and so empowered and so motivated. And then this way, and I'll stop screen sharing now so I can see your face. This way, when it's time for your 21-day group, you will have a network to work with, or at least to ask for referrals with, and you'll be able to share this group with a good set of people. And the last thing I'll say is that the cool thing about setting up a challenge group is that often, like, pretty amazing coaches come out of these groups. I'd say I think about 60% of my coaches have come from challenge groups, maybe even more. But they get started knowing exactly what a challenge group is. First of all, that's something I didn't know. I had no idea what a challenge group was. And then they kind of have a taste of how they want to run things. A lot of times when people are in our challenge groups, they think, I think I'd do this way, or I really love how she does it this way, or I really hate that point system and I could create my own, So go out there and do that, write down action conquers fear, and let's just hear the date of your challenge group. So post the date of your upcoming challenge group below so we know when we can support you and how we can support you, and so we can get excited with and for you. So thank you for taking the time to listen, and I can't wait to see how your challenge groups go and how you continue to grow and express in yourself on social media.